Of course, now, Mr. Lincoln had been on record for some time speaking about his hatred of slavery. Of course, now, I hated slavery too, but it was for a little different reason for Mr. Lincoln. I hated slavery because of my own experience. I was born Frederick Augustus Washington Bailey around the year 1817 on the eastern shore in Maryland over at Talbot County, Tuckahoe Creek on the Lord Plantation. That's Edward Lord, one of the richest and most powerful men in the country, a former governor, former United States Senator, and I was owned by a man named Aaron Anthony. Of course, now I have to say that for a slave boy, I really didn't have it too bad, though I did have to live for right around a year under one of Captain Anthony's worst overseers, a man named Edward Covey. Now, Covey was a mean, mean man. He used to walk around every day with a 4-foot rawhide rope, and he'd pop the hide off your back just as soon as look at you. I tell you, there weren't many people in this world that scared me any more than Covey. We used to call him the Snake. I remember this one particular morning while I was obeying his orders to feed and get the horses ready for the fields. Covey sneaked into the stable in his peculiar snake-like manner. He seized me by the leg and threw me to the ground, and while down, he seemed to think he had me securely within his power, but little did he realize that he was in for a definite struggle. Now, from whence came the spirit necessary to struggle with a man who 24 hours before could have made me tremble like a leaf in a storm, I don't know. But at any rate, I was determined to fight. What's more, I was hard at it. I flung him to the ground several times and held him down so firmly that his blood followed my nails. I held him and he held me. After about 10 minutes, Covey looked up at me and said, "Now you going to resist me, you scoundrel?" To which I returned a very polite, "Yes, sir." I am. About this time, Bill, the hired hand, came in, and Covey called upon him for assistance. "Take hold of him," said Covey. "Indeed, Mr. Covey, I wants to do my work." "This is your work. Take hold of him." "Now, Mr. Covey, my master hired me out here to work and not to help you whip up on Frederick." "Bill, don't you put your hands on me." "My God, Frederick, I ain't going to touch you." We were all in open rebellion that morning. Finally, about 2 hours elapsed, and Covey gave up the contest. He said a huffing and a puffing, and his eyes was all aglow. "Now, you get on away from here, you scoundrel. Go away from here." I grabbed, I wouldn't have whooped you half as much as I did if you had to resist it. You just wrong. Well, during the remaining 6 months that I lived with Covey, he never laid so much as the weight of his little finger on me again in anger. Or he would occasionally say, "I don't want to have to put my hands on you again." A declaration I had no difficulty in believing. Well, this little transaction with Covey, as undignified as it was a turning point in my life as a slave. I'd reached a point at which I was not afraid to fight back. And this spirit made me a free man, in fact, though I remained a slave in form. So, at the beginning of the year 1837, I took upon myself a solemn vow that the year which had now dawned would not close without witnessing an earnest attempt on my part to gain freedom. An escape, I eventually did. I was one of those fortunate few. who managed to obtain a ticket on that special railroad that extended from Kentucky straight on into Canada. So on a cool Monday morning, the 30th of September, 1838, in accordance with my previous resolution, I jumped on board and exchanged my bondage for my freedom.